What's up guys, Matty here. In today's video, we're going to be checking out the West Audio NG76 compressors. You might actually even be able to see them over my right shoulder here. Now, if you don't know about the NG76, they are fully analog compressors that are modeled after, if you might have guessed, the famous Universal Audio or URI 1176 compressor. Now, one of the things that sets the NG76 apart from other analog compressors is that it is digitally recallable with a plugin. So what that means is you hook up the NG76 with a USB cord to your computer, and then you download the software and it comes up as a plugin in your DAW. And anytime you change the plugin, the compressors change as well. And this means that when you close the session and then open it again, the settings will all recall and you'll be right where you left off with analog hardware, which is a pretty big deal. And so in today's video, we'll go over what the NG76 can do. We'll listen to it on some vocals and some drums, and also compare it to the UAD original 1176 plugin. Let's go. All right, guys, so here's the actual plugin. We'll be using this today just because it's a lot easier to see the settings than me filming the actual hardware. But just know that this is an analog compressor being controlled by a digital plugin. So going over the different controls really quick, it is an 1176 compressor clone. So if you ever use an 1176, which most of us have, you'll understand how this compressor works. You have an input and output, your release, your attack, a mix knob, which is nice to have built in. You can, mix how much compression you want. Then over here are your ratios. And just like other 1176, you have 4, 8, 12, and 20. And then this button is all, which is like British mode where you press all the buttons in. That's what that is there. Also, this toggle button is pretty interesting. When it's off, you can add other compression ratios, which will give things a different sound and combination. Or when it's on, it will switch just like it normally would, where it toggles to the different ratio that you select. Okay, so now let's move on to some of the more unique stuff about the compressor. First is the sidechain filters. Now, most compressors have a low high-pass filter these days, and this does, obviously. You have 60 hertz, 90, and 150. And all that does is help, affect the compressor from overreacting to low-end material. But what I find unique about this is it also has a high shelf that you can add at 2K, 5K, and 12K. And this will help boost more of the high-end material into the compressor, which can be very helpful for taming harsh vocals. And we'll listen to that shortly. Next are the two modes. Now, this has a modern mode and a vintage mode. Now, if you know anything about the history of 1176s, the first one was created by Bill Putnam, the owner of or creator of Universal Audio, in 1968, called the Rev A, and that's also known as a blue stripe compressor. This is not one of those. This compressor is modeled after some of the later revisions, F and G. The modern one is modeled after the G revision, where it has an electronically balanced input and the transformer section is bypassed. The vintage model, which is more like the F revision, has the transformer in it. So those are the differences between the two. And they sound like you would think. The modern version sounds a bit cleaner. Vintage has a little more girth to it, a little more low mid energy. Next to that is the THD. Now, this adds a bit of harmonic distortion to it. It has a low and a high, so it pushes the harmonic distortion to either the low end or the high end. Pretty cool. We'll listen to all this, of course. And then lastly is the saturation, which almost makes this unit two different devices, a compressor and a saturation box between this and the THD. This is taking the normal distortion you would get from a FET compressor plus the THD and combining it, I think, to make this a pretty cool saturation unit. All right, so now let's take a listen to this thing on some vocals. I have a vocal loop from my buddy DJ Please. It's a Christmas song he did last year. I figured since it is December, we do a holiday type vocal. So let's just run this. I got regular 1176 type settings on this. Let's do like a medium attack and just hear it on and off.
To keep us warm with what's inside my heart. You melted all the ice around the love I hid away. And I'm so grateful for this gift of you with me today.
So sounds like an 1176, which is a good start. This is on the modern side, so it's the more cleaner side. Now, just so you guys can hear some of the distortion characteristics, I'm going to play it again. We'll switch to the vintage, and then we'll try it with the THD.
To keep us warm with what's inside my heart. You melted all the ice around the love I hid away. And I'm so grateful for this gift of you with me today. Oh no. Let's take a walk outside, hold hands under the stars. Don't need no coat to keep us warm with what's inside my heart. You melted all the ice around the love I hid away. And I'm so grateful for this gift of you with me today.
So as you can hear, you can get a lot of different tones, and I'm sorry some of that wasn't volume matched. I know some of you guys in the comments are going to kill me for it. It is what it is, but it does show you that you can get quite a few different tones with this, which I think is cool. There's a lot of different 1176s out there, and a lot of them have different tones. Like a blue stripe will never be used for something you might use like the blackface. Newer models, they just have a different sound. You use them for different voices on different styles of songs. So the fact that you can take this and kind of make it different styles of 1176s is really good. You can kind of hit this with some more saturation on a rock song, or if you want something like this, an R&B type song, you want something cleaner, just use the modern version. So pretty cool that you can get different flavors on it. One last thing, let's just run it with the sidechain shelf, the high-end one, and so you guys can hear how that reacts as well.
To keep us warm with what's inside my heart. You melted all the ice around the love I hid away. And I'm so grateful for this gift of you with me today. Oh no.
So you noticed, hopefully, when we hit that 5K, this thing got a lot smoother. I love that feature. I wish I had that on my plugin versions, but I don't. So it's really cool, though. It can help smooth out a vocal as well as compress it. So really cool feature with the high shelf. All right, so now let's do a little comparison. Let's compare the NG76 to the 1176 by UAD. This is the Rev E version. I couldn't find a plugin that has an F or G version, which is cool. Means you have something unique if you get the hardware. But the E is fairly close to the G, so we should be able to get something close. And I think it's a close comparison between the two. So I'm going to play this again. It will start with the 76, and then I'll hit this, and it will switch to the plugin, so you will know which one I'm on by which plugin is showing on the screen. Let's go.
To keep us warm with what's inside my heart. You melted all the ice around the love I hid away. And I'm so grateful for this gift of you with me today. Oh no. Let's take a walk outside, hold hands under the stars. Don't need no coat to keep us warm with what's inside my heart. You melted all the ice around the love I hid away. And I'm so grateful for this gift of you with me today.
All right, so they sound pretty close. There's some times where I'm like, this one sounds a little different than that one. But if we were doing this with the blindfold, I think we would all have a hard time knowing which one was which. And I think that's a good thing. The 1176 plugins are very good. And the fact that West Audio made analog 1176 that sounds just like the Universal Audio ones, that's good. Now, what's different about this 1176 is all the different features you have on it, which you don't get with a plugin, and how you can drive it with the saturation, which we're going to get into on the drums right now. All right, so now we're going to check this out on some drums. These are from a song by my buddy Garrett Gregory, Rockin' It. These are the drums from that song, so make sure to check him out on Spotify and all of that. I'll just play the drums without first. Let's do without the compressor, and then we'll bring it in, and you can hear this thing really just kick the drums up to another level. Okay, so we're compressing this thing pretty hard, but you can hear just, you know, the excitement and energy that this thing can bring to a drum set. Now, let's dive deeper into it. I'm going to start playing with all the different settings. We're going to get into the saturation so you can hear all the different flavors you can get with this compressor on some drums. Okay, so you guys can hear, you can push this thing a bunch of different ways and get a bunch of different tones from it. Lastly, let's turn on the saturation mode and play with that for a bit. Okay, so as you guys can hear, you can go very extreme with it, then, pull the mix down so you're not hearing it as much, or just give it a light amount of saturation, a lot of different flavors with the saturation unit as well. So pretty cool to have like 2 different pieces of hardware in one. Okay, so lastly, because everyone always wants to hear it, let's compare this to the UAD version and see how close I was able to get them to sound. So as you can probably hear, I wasn't able to get too close. There's just something when you really push compressors in the analog world, just sound different than sometimes when you really push compressors in the digital world. Now it's getting better, but we're not quite there yet on certain plugins to do that. All right, guys, so that is the West Audio NG76. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I'm a little sad that I have to return these after the review. I don't know if I'll buy them or not. I can't afford any more gear, but they're super great 1176 compressors. If you need one, I would highly suggest getting this one. Not just because it sounds great, but it has the digital recall that you can use for all your songs, and it will turn on as soon as your session comes in, which is a big deal these days. If you need your songs mixed or mastered, hit me up at mixandmastermysong.com. You can also find my courses and presets there too. Talk to you soon.